Next up on the call is Prairie View head football coach Heishma. Prairie View suffered a loss to Texas State by a score of 28-3. They will host Southern. They will travel to Baton Rouge and play Southern this weekend for a 6 p.m. kickoff. Coach, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
Coach, we'll talk about your game with Texas State and the big matchup with Southern this coming weekend.
Well, we didn't get off to a particularly good start in either phase of the football game, and we went in, we talked about the formula that we had to follow in order for us to win the football game, outrush them, win the turnover margin, win either 2 of the 3 phases of the game in a dominating fashion, and we didn't do any of that. We moved the ball some, but we couldn't capitalize on some third down conversions. When we got excellent route running, we may have got a drop. When we had wide receivers wide open, we may not have got the pass set. It was maybe one breakdown per play that may have cost us. We didn't do a particularly good job of tackling in the beginning of the ball game, and then when we did move the ball, we ended up getting a field goal block. I think that was maybe the first bad snap we've had in the last 2 or 3 years from that young man. But the bottom line is, I question some of the guys' attention to detail. And a few guys, a little bit of the effort, but I think, am I surprised by the score? Yes. I had somebody ask me after the game, a reporter from saying, Marcus, was I pleased that we only got beat 28-3? And had we lost 28-27, I still would have been upset. Or had we won by 1 point, I probably still would have found, be happy, but you still always try to find what could we have done better. And I thought we played a pretty good ball game on the defense side of the ball. In the second half, I think they only had 1 third down conversion in the second half, and the 1 touchdown they scored was, it should have been a tackle for loss, and we missed it, and the guy broke a long. So, we're going to get back to the drawing board. We have a tough non-conference game going to Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The good thing about, I think, the environment at Texas State was much like what we're going to face going to Baton Rouge. Their student section was right by our locker room and behind our bench, and it was great for our guys to, sort of have those people, in their ear, trying to get in their head, and that's what I expect when we go to Baton Rouge. It may be some of my own family members that's going to be, yelling at the guys from Prairie, but we look forward to, going to another home opening, and hopefully we'll play a much better ball game than we did last week.
The floor is now open for Prairie View head football coach Heishma.
Coach Northern, this is James Verrett from CST. How you doing?
How you doing there, James?
Doing good, doing good. When you look at Southern on film, even though they are 0-2 and their offense has struggled, do you see some improvements from last season?
I think the biggest thing that I see, I still think Dre is a great quarterback. I still think they have a good receiving core. And I don't want to discredit these young men, but last year I thought they had some excellent receivers. These young men are still very good in their own right, but they may not be the total group that they had last year with some of the guys that they lost. But I still see an offense that if you're not careful, they can put some points on the board. I see a defense that in spots they fly to the football, and I know that's probably one of Coach Odom's things that, they may be getting to the ball, but they're not finishing their tackles. So that means that they're in the right position, but they're just not finishing plays. I think that offense, we got to be careful not to give up big plays. With Dre, I was looking at the film the other day, last night, and I saw some of the throws, and it almost looked like the video went in fast forward when the ball left his hand. But he throws a good ball, and we have to make sure we're tight in our coverage. I think the tight end, we got to make sure. Most teams you don't have to account for the tight end, but I think this week we're going to always have to know where he is because he's a great outlet for them.
What are your thoughts on Southern University honoring the 1993 SWAC championship ball club that you were a part of?
Well, I think it's a great idea. I actually called Dr. Broussard during the summer just to see, because I had run into Coach Vite, who was the defensive coordinator on that team. You know, Coach Orlando is on my staff. He was the offense coordinator, and I talked to a few other guys. I'm like, man, you know, that's 20 years that has flown by, and I think we ought to do something. And right when I called Dr. Broussard, I think they were just putting the final touches on sort of how are they going to do everything. But, you know, that's going to be fine and dandy for everyone else, but I'm here to win a football game for Prairie View. You know, if I see some of those guys and get a chance to shake their hand, that'll be fine and dandy. But, you know, all I care about is trying to, you know, get out of Baton Rouge with a victory. But it's going to be great getting a chance to see Richardson and some of my former teammates. But, you know, as Prairie View football, you know, I may not even get a chance to do anything. My goal is to go recruiting to 3 high school games while I'm down there. And the rest of my time is going to be spent focusing on making sure Prairie View is ready to play, not so much the 1993 team, but I think it's a great that as HBCU, sometimes we forget about our past. And I think it's great that they're going to honor the team.
Excuse me.